Well, good early morning, fellow YouTubers. Over my end of the woods, over on my end of the woods, it's 9:18. Well, 9:17 is the correct time, but I have 9:18. 9:18 is the correct time, but I have 9:17. I made a movie reference, but don't worry about it. So check this out, YouTube. When you buy a gun, it's a bit of a process, isn't it? You gotta fill out paperwork, there's a background check, and if everything's good to go, you're out the door with your gun relatively quickly. So, my shtick here is, what if having a girlfriend or having a boyfriend was like buying a gun? You couldn't just get one and date. You had to go through a process. You had to go through, you know, to apply for a dating application and that sort of thing. And it was someone's job to make sure that irresponsible people didn't date. Says here on your background that you were a piece of shit to your last girlfriend, so we're gonna have to deny. Yeah. Because unfortunately, some guys never learn, and some girls never learn. People are just absolute shit to each other, and, well, of course, it would take away the free will of dating, but it would also eliminate the assholes. Real quick. Imagine for a second. Some of you might be like, well, that's a little too far. Isn't the joy of being able to date whoever you want to a degree? Isn't that, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying anything against that. What I'm saying is, if dating were like buying a gun, I guarantee you we'd have a lot less problems in our society. Over the last couple of months, I've seen people complaining about each other all the fucking time. I hear these assholes, these men. Oh, I don't need no woman. So then they sit there and blah, 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 men going on their own stupid movement. And then you hear women say the same thing about men. And I tend to think, well, if that's how people are going to be towards each other on the dating scene, then maybe YouTube, just maybe. I mean, why not? You already have to have a license to get married, so why not? Like, hypothetical, let's say this became a reality. You have to have a license to date somebody, that kind of thing. So how would it work? Well, if you go to apply for a dating license and it says that one of the applicants has a history of domestic violence and abuse, then they would, of course, be denied access to a dating license. Anyone who opposed the new law would be thrown in jail for 34 years. Just steep enough to make them think twice about, you know. Yes, it would take away the free will of dating, but it would also eliminate the assholes on the dating scene. As far as I'm concerned, you can't trust love as far as you can throw it. Now, you can't trust love as far as you can throw it, YouTube. Hmm. No, YouTube, as far as I'm concerned, you can't trust love as far as you can throw it. Got to keep your wits about ya. And that's another question I often wonder. Why is it that getting a girlfriend or and a significant other half, why is getting a significant other half free to some extent? I say free to some extent because there are some expenses that go with it, but why is it that when you get a marriage that when you're getting married you have to get a license or a document of some sort, but when you're getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend you don't have to do any of that stupid shit? When practically having a girlfriend or a boyfriend is the same thing as having a wife or a husband. The only difference is the ring. Seriously, YouTube, the only difference between having a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, the only difference is the goddamn ring. The only fucking difference is the goddamn ring. So, furthermore, if there isn't that much of a difference, then why the fuck not? And this is not something everyone would agree with. I think, I think a lot of people would disagree with the idea of having to use licenses to date. Some of you think, oh, that might be too far, Mr. Saunders. And some of you might agree with me. But think about it. If dating were like buying a gun and you literally had to go through this long ass process, and by the time we got to the end of it, and they said, well, according to your history, you have a history of mental abuse, physical abuse, or you have a history of being a gold digger. So guess what? License denied. License denied. Well, it says here you have a history of cheating and being an abusive piece of shit. License denied. Well, it says here you're a gold digging whore. License denied. I'm just saying, YouTube. Picture for 1 second if that's how it was. Do you honestly think that would stop the assholes in the dating scene? Well, more than likely, yes, it would. Yeah. At least if they wanted a real girlfriend or boyfriend, yes, it would stop them in the dating scene. The system would be in place so none of the assholes or the bitches none of the asshole men or bitchy women would be allowed to date, but regular, decent, nice folks who don't treat the opposite sex like shit would be allowed to date. And again, fucking TU. We need to make the punishment for rape more severe. It's not severe enough. I think rapists should get the death penalty. That's my honest opinion. Because the simple fact of the matter is, YouTube, and this is the sad part of it. Why does why does raping a woman carry less of a prison time than a simple pot conviction? That's the dumbest thing on the planet. There is no justice in that. I mean, like I said, we're already halfway there, YouTube. They require you to have a license or some kind of piece of paper or document of some sort to get married. I mean, marriage is just like having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. When you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, it's compromise, 50-50, that sort of thing. And it's a bartering system, you know. So, why not? I mean, people have been given the gift of free will dating and they've abused it time and time again. And when they abuse that privilege, when you're a kid and you abuse your privileges, you get them taken away, plain and simple. Adults are no different. When you abuse your privileges, they get taken away. So, that being said, YouTube, you get these women who are constantly, and these men who are constantly, you get men and women who are constantly saying, I'm sick of dating shitty women, or I'm sick of dating asshole men, blah, 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 blah. You hear it from both sexes. You hear it from both sexes. Oh, we're sick of dating shitty people. Well, if you had to, if it was a rigorous process to get a dating license, I guarantee you. And once you went to go get your dating license, you have to get it as a couple, not as individuals. That way, treat it just like marriage. I guarantee you. Oh, it says here that you have a history of domestic abuse, so your dating license is denied. I know what some of you might say. Well, Josh, that's kind of unfair. Some people don't. Then some people won't have the chance to get better as people. Yeah, but do you really want to take that chance? I mean, not all men are me. I made the mistake of cheating on my first girlfriend. I'm not proud of it, and I haven't done it since then. So I've learned from my mistakes. But I cannot speak for every man out there, unfortunately. There's a lot of good men out there, but they're hard to find, according to women. And it's like, well, maybe if you stop falling for every fucking asshole that gives you a rose, then maybe, just maybe. And here comes the argument. Well, oh, Josh, you don't know how hard it is to be a woman on the dating scene. Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Women have it so much easier on the dating scene. So much easier. They overthink shit like, oh, I gotta wear the right makeup. I gotta have the right this and that. No, the fuck you don't. No, the fuck you don't. When it comes to dating, men have a lot harder time on the dating scene than women do. And if you think I'm full of shit and I'm just blowing smoke out my Asperger's, then why is it that men buy women drinks at the bar and not vice versa? Think about that for a second. Men are the ones buying drinks for women at the bars. Think about that for a second. Just think about that for a second. It's not the other way around. Women aren't the ones that are told all women want is penis. Now imagine for 1 second, ladies, if society told your sex that all you girls want is dick. All women want is dick. They're just stuck up bitches, all of them. How would you feel about that? Oh, you'd hate that stereotype, but guess what? Men are faced with that kind of crap all the fucking time. Society tells men, all you guys want is sex. You know what I'm saying? And because of that negative stereotype, that's why women have an easier time on the dating scene than men. Guarantee it. Men want to get laid. Women have something they can offer. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants dick. You know what I'm saying? Nobody truly wants it. All of a sudden, as a young and independent woman who's in her 20s or early 30s, you have something of value on the dating scene. You have something that every guy in that bar wants when they're just drunk enough. And that's why you see men jumping through. That's why you see men jumping through loops like toy dogs in a goddamn circus. That's why you see men jumping through hula hoops like toy dogs in a goddamn circus. That's why you see a lot of the time in the so-called life that we live. That's why you see male peacocks showboating for females. And, you know what I'm saying? Men are the ones who have to put in the work when it comes to dating for the most part. Women, all you gotta do is sit back and take it. Pick the man you want and just take it. You know what I'm saying? So women have a lot easier time on the dating scene. And if you don't believe me, then red pill lens. Now, believe me, like I said, a lot of women overthink it. They think, oh, well, my makeup's got to be just perfect, or my nails got to be perfect, or I got to have the right outfit. No, you don't. Men are simple. Women are so much more complicated and a lot more picky than men. That's a fucking fact. You know why women have an easier time on the dating scene than men? Because men are not allowed. Men are not allowed to have standards. Women are. If a woman says, oh, I don't like fat dudes, a man can't say you're body shaming, you piece of whore. A man can't say, well, that's not very nice. Every man is created beautifully. But I guarantee you flip the script on that situation and you hear a dude say that, oh, wow. You hear a dude say that about chicks, and I guarantee you, Nine times out of 10, you're gonna hear some bitchy, entitled female go, "How dare you have standards just like me?" Uh huh. You want more physical proof that dating is easier for women than it is for men. Right. So now why is it that men are expected to make the first move? Think about it. Women constantly expect men to make the first move, and as soon as we do, women expect men to make the first move, and as soon as we do, we get called a pig for staring. Or we get called an asshole for making a comment. Well, I'm just saying, women have a lot easier time on the dating scene than men. You know what I'm saying? Women, you have the thing that most heterosexual men want. So you have the bargaining chip. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, you don't have to just give it away as much as you want. Make them work for it, you know? Keep your goddamn dignity for fuck's sake. You get these women who just give away sex like it's nothing, like it's going out of style, and then they act like men are the pieces of shit for doing it. Like, well, let me ask you something. If you gave a dog a treat every 5 minutes, and that dog gets fat and dies because you overfed him, that's your fault, not the dog's fault. The dog likes treats. It's a dog. You give him a biscuit, he gets happy, like, yeah. So, hey, all I'm saying, ladies, is you have what men want. You know what I'm saying? Make them work for it a little bit, you know? Don't just give it away like it's nothing. I mean, have some goddamn dignity. But women who go around and give it up as easy as they can, and then they suffer the consequences of catching STDs or having unwanted kids, and then they blame everybody else for it. Like, no, it's not their fault. You're a slut. And some women might disagree and say, well, actually, men have an easier time dating because they can have all the sex they want and not have any consequences. Bullshit. That's the only thing that men have on the. That's the only thing that men have on the dating scene that women don't. Is if a man gets lots of pussy, he's called a stud. But if a woman gets lots of dick, she's called a whore. That is the only thing. But everything else, trust and believe, everything else, women have a lot easier time on the dating scene. And that's the only thing. That is the only thing. That is the only fucking thing. Guarantee if there's a dude who hasn't been laid in 6 months and his wife just divorced him, and he's sitting at the bar drinking his pain away, oh, look at that. Easy dick right there, ladies. And he gets to be just as bitchy and self-entitled as you, bitching about his ex, just like you do when you meet some other younger guy, bitching about your ex. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. That's the common ground that a lot of fucking people have on the dating scene. They love to bitch about their ex. And that's just the thing of it, YouTube. Learning to spot the differences between a nice person and a complete asshole. Don't be so quick to be decisive. And why you trust and believe that women can deny all they want to, but I guarantee you that women have an easier time on the dating scene than men do. Like I said, women are the ones that get bought drinks at the bar. Men, unless you're Fabio, Super Stud Player 9000, then pretty much it's always going to be like that. Men are always going to be the ones buying women the drinks at the bar. You know, that being said, a lot of women think, oh well, their outfit has to be perfect, or their makeup has to be just right, or their blah 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 blah, all these stupid unnecessary factors. But really, most men don't care about makeup, and most men don't care about what color of nail polish you wear. They just want to bone you half the time. You know what I'm saying? That being said, like I said, you have a bargaining system in your possession. You have what they want. So don't just give it to them. Make them work for it. Make them, you know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult, ladies. Unless you're in a stable and happy and successful relationship, then make them work a little harder for it. That's all I'm getting at. You know, women don't have to jump through hoops to get dick. You know what I'm saying? They really don't. But trust and believe, men have to jump through hoops to get pussy. We're like toy dogs for that shit. You want a biscuit? Jump higher, Fido. Who's a good Fido? You want the biscuit? Jump higher. Oh, not high enough. You want the biscuit? Jump higher. Yeah. But if you're the kind of woman that's just 10 degrees of unsufferable, and you disrespect men, and then you bitch because you can't get laid, well, that's kind of your fault. Stop being a high maintenance bitch. Stop being a high maintenance bitch, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have an easier time finding the right guy. You know, I'll admit there are some guys that are real fucking assholes, but guess what? When you're a shitty person, you attract shitty people. You could be the nicest person on the planet. You could have a good. You could genuinely be a good person. But if you're a vain bitch, if you're a vain, self-centered bitch at heart, then you're going to attract assholes. Hmm. My cup is empty. I need some caffeine. I could make some coffee, but I'm good on that for now. I might make a pot of coffee later, and when I do, if I do decide to make a pot of coffee later, I'll make a video about it and be like, so this is how you do it. You know. No, I'm serious, YouTube. As a woman, you have what they want. You know what I'm saying? Women don't have to try that hard to succeed in the dating scene. They really don't. Some women might think, oh, I'm too fat, no guy's gonna want me. Some women might think, oh, my tits are too small or my ass is too small, no guy's gonna want me. Bullshit. Bullshit. Not every guy likes big boobs, not every guy likes a huge ass. Not every guy likes super fucking skinny twig. You know? Not every guy's into the same thing, so you can sit on your ass and complain because dating is so hard and men are just assholes. Right, if men are assholes, then women are bitches. Oh, yeah. I can hear the angry feminazi right now. You chauvinistic male pig. That's so typical male attitude. Right. Well, who do you think makes men into assholes? Bitchy ass women. And asshole men turn women into bitches. Trust and believe. It's a vicious cycle. When the sexes treat each other like shit, when men and women treat each other like shit, it turns men into assholes and it turns women into bitches every fucking time. Never fails in that equation. So, and it's like I said, if the dating scene is to work, then people need a mutual respect for one another. Second thing I'm going to say is you don't need companionship to succeed in life. Get a good career and get a house or an apartment of some sort before you establish a relationship. You know, to quote the song by Rat, which is the song Round and Round, well, love will find a way, just give it time. Yeah. There's someone out there for everyone. That's what they keep saying, right? There's someone out there for everyone. So therefore, you shouldn't be in a rush to find it. Just gotta give it time. Yeah. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, you know I'm right on this scenario. And that's what precisely why men get called a stud on the dating scene when it comes to dating if they're scoring a lot, because men have to work for it to get it. Women don't have to try that hard. You really don't. Because women don't have to try that hard when it comes to dating, that's why that double standard exists. And that's why, and the complaint of some women who are much older might be, well, that's not fair. You want to talk about unfair, sweetheart. You want to talk about unfair. Assuming that just because you're a male, all that you want is sex. That's unfair. This negative stereotype that exists for men, it makes women feel entitled to our dick when nothing more than. It just makes women entitled to our dick, and it makes us look like sex objects in a woman's eye. And of course, you'll hear women say the same thing about men, like, I'm sick and tired of being a sex object. Like, well, you want to talk about being a sex object, honey. This fucking attitude that society has. All men want is sex. They're just pigs, and sex is pigs, and blah, 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 blah. This is precisely why men have an easier time getting rejected up front, and women have a harder time with it. It's precisely why women have an easier time getting over relationship breakups, whereas men, it takes a little bit longer for them to get over it. At least in my experience, when dealing with a breakup, I've noticed that sometimes it takes a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks for me to get over it. You know what I'm saying? Because men We get attached way too fucking easily. She gives us a little bit of pussy and we get attached. We're idiots. Women, on the other hand, they don't get attached nearly as much as men do. I mean, if you're young, you got your whole life ahead of you, then dating should be the least of your concerns. You should be more worried about getting a career first. Because I guarantee you, I don't give a shit what sex you are. You could be a male, female, whatever. I don't care. You get a career established first. You get a career established first. You get a job. You get a house. You get your life stable. Once you have your life stable, once you have, a career, everything else will just fall into place. Yeah. Case in point, I have my own wand business. I'll be starting work on a new batch of wands Monday. Case in point, I have my own career as a successful wand salesman. And I have my own apartment. So, there you go. Dating's not important, you two, because dating doesn't pay the bills. Stay. Stay. Thank you. You can call me a pig, a sexist, all you want. I don't care. You know I'm right on this issue. It's like I said, if I burn myself with my own tobacco pipe on purpose, I can't bitch and complain when it hurts because I'm the one that chose to do it. That being said, men and women who date shitty people and then feel sorry for themselves, well, that's your own goddamn fault. Part of it is the person you dated's fault, yes. Let's be fair. YouTube, let's be fair. Part of it is because, the person you dated is a piece of shit and a nobody and a loser and this and that. Okay, I get that 100%. But part of it's also your fault. You had the opportunity to pick a nice person to date, and then you chose to date the same asshole you dated last time. Same asshole, different face, different name. Like men who get sick and tired of dating gold diggers, and women who get sick and tired of dating asshole men. But then you fall for the same asshole every time. Here's your sign. Second thing I'm going to say. If you find a member of the opposite sex that laughs at your shitty jokes, and you find them attractive both mentally and physically, and you know what I'm saying, and they laugh at your jokes, and they become single, totally ask them out. See where it goes. You never know. Yeah. I'm here to tell you right now that karma is a bitch. You know, I was happy dating Summer, but you know, because I cheated on my first girlfriend, karma's a bitch. It didn't last long because of it. So even though, and that's just the thing of it, dude, is once you've learned from your mistakes, don't make the same mistake twice. I'm here to tell you right now, don't cheat. Okay, do not. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. It's not worth it, man. If you're sick and tired of your dating partner, then break up with them before you decide to pursue other people. You know, that's all I'm getting at. You know, I got my first girlfriend and I let the confidence go to my head, literally, and I got too cocky and too confident, and the situation at the time, she was long distance, and, you know, I felt guilty about what I did, so I told her, and if I would have kept my fucking mouth shut, she never would have found out. That's the funny thing of it. But a good relationship, YouTube, a good relationship is built on two things: trust and communication. And honesty. Okay, three things. Well, four things. Attraction. Yeah. A good romantic relationship is built off of four things: honesty, communication, trust, and attraction. Those four things right there. Attraction comes last because that's a two-part answer. Attraction both mentally and physically. You cannot have physical attraction without mental attraction, just like you cannot have mental attraction without physical attraction. Let me explain why. You could find that person super attractive, so the relations in the bedroom would be awesome, but you try to carry on a conversation with them and they bore you to tears. See what I'm saying? Yeah. You could have a great intellectual conversation with the person, but if there's no physical spark, it's just not going to happen. So there has to be a healthy balance of both mental and physical attraction for it to work. And both parties involved in that situation have to feel the same way about each other. Otherwise, it's not going to work, YouTube. 9 times out of 10. Why do you think, YouTube, and I'm being seriously honest with you, when you find a member, a human being that you have everything in common with, and then let's say you're a dude, and let's just say, for hypothetical sake, okay, you're a dude who loves to race cars, and you and your buddies go out racing all the time in your fast ass cars. And all of a sudden you find a chick who's into racing just like you are. And yeah. Well, let's say you're a chick and you love to paint pictures. And you find yourself a dude who loves to paint. There you go. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? Don't be in a rush to find companionship, but at the same time, be a bit more decisive on who you date. Be a bit more deceptive. Don't be so, I don't think deceptive is the word. Yeah. No, that's definitely not the word. Don't be afraid to be picky on who you date. I don't care if you're a male or a female. People are allowed to have high standards on the dating scene. That's just how it is. You can call it unfair when it happens to you, but if you yourself have high standards, then you really can't bitch when you get the same treatment from the opposite sex. I'm just saying. I used to get very mad that a lot of women had high standards, but then I realized, well, my standards are kind of high too, so I really have, no room to talk. And I've had people tell me, well, you should lower your standards. Why? If women don't have to lower their standards, neither do I. And case in point, you hear women say, anything you men can do, we can do better. Yeah, you're damn right about that. If men have standards, trust and believe women can do that a lot better. You're right about that, ladies, 100%. But based off of your logic, Mr. Saunders, wouldn't you say that men are not allowed to have standards and women are because women are giving it, men are taking it? If that's how you feel, then you're a part of the problem. And that's the reason why, stuff like bedroom business can be a bit more personal for women because they're giving a part of themselves to you. That's why relations can be a bit more emotional for women. Guys don't see it like that, and that's the problem. Fellas, listen up. Now, for a guy getting sex, it's like, yeah, take it, get it, conquer, get my dick wet, you know what I'm saying? But for women, it's a lot more special and a lot more romantic, you know. Women tend to view sex like that one dude riding the white horse down a beach with his v-neck shirt and his long flowing hair, Yeah. Guys view sex like it's in the back of a classic car or some shit, so, yeah. Now, just because you see a guy riding a white horse, that don't mean shit. On the surface, he could appear to be Prince Charming, but on the inside, he could be a real fucking asshole. So don't let looks deceive you. You could see some dude wearing a business suit, looking all fancy with his Rolex watch and his Mercedes Benz or his Lamborghini, like, oh, look at me, I'm loaded with money, blah, blah, blah. On the surface, it could appear to be a successful person, but deep down beneath all that, you know what I'm saying, they could be a real asshole. So that's something to think about, YouTube. And this is precisely why you shouldn't be in a hurry to date. Because you could end up with somebody that just makes your life miserable. And the unfortunate reality of it, YouTube, is when you're in a relationship with people that make you miserable, sometimes you get sucked into that loop. And that's why you have a lot of these people who are in abusive relationships. This is why a lot of these people who are in abusive relationships have a hard time with leaving said relationships because of how abusive their other half is. And they could literally brainwash you into thinking that you're only going to be good enough for them, that you're only going to be good enough for them and them only, and that sort of thing. And, and that kind of negative thinking, that's exactly what they want, YouTube. That's exactly what they want. Don't let people in a romantic relationship control you. You are your own person. That goes for both sexes, man. That goes for both sexes, YouTube. Now, obviously, I disagree with the idea to an extent of, if having a girlfriend or having a boyfriend was like buying a gun and you had to have an extensive process and a background check, and if it came up that you're an abusive piece of shit, oh, well, your girlfriend permit denied. That just seems like a lot of unnecessary work, and it takes away the free will of dating, which a lot of people would strongly disagree with. And the truth of it is, there shouldn't have to be something like that in place on the dating scene. There really shouldn't be. So, if you're dating somebody for the first time, YouTube, talk to their exes and get to know them a little bit better. Ladies, talking to you. You found a new guy in your life, he's just the best, blah, 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 blah. You think he's the best. Talk to his ex-girlfriends and see what's really up before you go any further. The same can be said for dudes. That piece of advice applies to both sexes. And it's just good to, get to know their exes anyway. That way there's no awkward tension. Because what happens when you're in public with your boyfriend or you're in public with your girlfriend, maybe you're in line at a gas station, in line to pay for gas, and one of their exes comes up to them, "Oh, it's you, you piece of shit. I see you found somebody else." Now imagine the first time you find out about your shitty boyfriend or your shitty girlfriend. The first time you find out about them is from a total stranger coming up to you and saying, "Oh, have fun with this mess." You're gonna be standing there going, "Well, do I really know this person? I guess not." Women have something to give. That's why they have an easier time on the dating scene. For the most part, women don't have to jump through hoops to get laid. Men do, however, so that's why that double standard exists. That's why women have an easier time on the dating scene. Now, some women might be like, "Well, that's not fair. Men get called studs if they get laid all the time, but women get called sluts if they get laid all the time." Well, you're right, that isn't fair, and that standard shouldn't exist. But there is some theory as to why that standard exists, YouTube. 100%. And it's because all men have to do is take it when it's offered. And all women have to do is offer it. It's just that simple. But women, what you have is special. As a girl, what you have is special. So don't just give it to anybody. You know? Be smarter about that. 2019, new year, new you. And just because they have a couple things in common with you doesn't mean that they're the one, you know? Yeah. What you have, women, is a gift. And you shouldn't just share your gift with anyone. Be a bit more careful about who you share it with. And here's the funny part of it. A lot of the time, I get rejected by women because women are judging me by the way I dress. Oh, this guy's goth. What a creep. I'm a distinguished goth gentleman, and if you want to make that crass assumption that just because I dress this way I'm creepy, that's no different than you getting called a slut because you're wearing a low-cut t-shirt. No different. Red pill. Red pill. Trust and believe, women get so tired of that shit. They think that just because you wear a low-cut shirt that you're a slut or that you're easy. Well, maybe you like showing off your boobs because it makes you feel sexy and empowered. It's no different than a dude who has muscles and knows he's got big muscles, so he wears a muscle t-shirt to show them off. It's no different. No different. You shouldn't be in a hurry to grow up, and at the same time, you should not be in a hurry to date, because life is full of opportunity, YouTube. Life is full of opportunity. 100% full of opportunity. Therefore, when life is full of opportunity, don't waste that opportunity, because you may never get that opportunity again. You know what I'm saying? So if you have the opportunity to get a good career started and you waste that opportunity, then 10 years down the road, you're going to be bitching because the career you ended up with wasn't to your liking. That's just a hypothetical, but there you go. If you have the opportunity to get a good career and you don't take that opportunity, and then you bitch 10 years down the road because, oh, well, the career I'm in now, blah, blah, blah. Well, you had that opportunity and you wasted it, so that's your own goddamn fault. Sure, the career you wanted might have taken a little bit longer to get, but what does being impatient get you? Jack shit. Being impatient gets you jack shit. Patience is a virtue. And that applies to goddamn pretty much everything in life. Case in point, let's say you want a car. So you take out a loan from the bank to get a car. Sure, you might have the money to buy the car now, but now you're paying insurance on top of paying off that debt and the money you owe the bank. So, you know, if you can avoid getting a housing loan or a car loan, you know what I'm saying, and you actually work for the things you want in life, it's a much more satisfactory feeling in the long run. Instead of asking for a handout from the bank, you say to yourself, nope, I'm going to get a job. I want to save up my money and get a car instead. That way when you do finally get that car, metaphorically speaking, you're not owing the bank money. You're just paying for insurance and gas. Yeah. Which in the long run is less money out of your pocket if you think about it. Now, it might take you longer to save up for it. You might struggle a little bit while saving up for it. But life is full of trial, error, and struggle. You're going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, YouTube. That's the thing of it. But the important thing is to learn from your mistakes and, you know, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then and you continue to make the same mistakes, then you cannot expect anyone to feel sorry for you. And you certainly shouldn't feel sorry for yourself, because if you've learned from your mistakes and yet you still continue to do the same action, expecting a different result, here's your sign. You stick a butter knife in the electrical socket and it shocks the fuck out of you. So you do it again, and then you ask for sympathy from people when you say, "Oh, I hurt myself." Here's your sign. Now, enough common sense would tell you, hey, don't stick a butter knife in the electrical socket. That's how you get electrocuted. But that's kind of how some people are. They they continue to date assholes, and then they expect everyone to feel sorry for them. They'll go to social media complaining about what pieces of shit women are, or what pieces of shit men are, blah, 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 blah. They'll start these stupid movements on the internet. They'll write 20 articles about how you need to be single, you don't need nobody, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing of it, YouTube. You learn to pick better people on the dating scene, you'll be a lot happier. And if you're not in a rush to find it, and you let it find you, you'll be a lot happier. There is no cost for telling it like it is. There is no cost for having 2 cents. Just because you have 2 cents doesn't mean nobody wants to hear it. And here's the best part of it. It don't cost you a goddamn penny to have common sense. And if you have enough common sense not to stick a butter knife in the electrical socket, you have enough common sense to go, okay, don't stick your hand on the stove when it's hot, because then you'll burn your hand. You know what I'm saying? You have enough common sense to get a career started before you think about dating. Because the reality of life, YouTube, the reality of life is dating, much like anything else in life, costs money. You know, I mean, you can always stay at home and watch Netflix, but guess what? Netflix costs money. The electricity you need to run your TV and your PlayStation or your Xbox, which powers Netflix, costs money. The gaming console that you watch Netflix on costs money. The TV that you have to watch Netflix on costs money. So, okay, and men, stop treating women like shit. I'm tired of getting it from these angry feminazis. You know, when I see these angry feminazis, these wannabe feminists, yeah, I say wannabe feminists for a reason. When I see some random, overly opinionated, bitchy feminazi attacking the male sex as a whole, it's like, it kind of makes me think, look, honey, I'm sorry that you had to deal with shitty asshole men. Oh, wait, I'm not sorry because I'm not those shitty asshole men. But fuck them. You have them out of your life, don't you? And if the answer is yes, you haven't had a shitty boyfriend in like months, maybe even years, then what the fuck you bitching about? You know what I'm saying? If you have them out of your life, why are you complaining still? you know, because you're sick of the treatment. I get that. But it's like I said, learn how to pick better people on the dating scene and then you won't have to worry about it. I mean, that's not that unreasonable. That actually makes a lot of fucking sense. Whenever I hear women say all men are just assholes, I want to say, yeah, I can be an asshole if I'm pushed to it, but genuinely speaking, I'm a good person. I try to be. Even if society likes to push my buttons, even if people like to fuck with me just because I'm autistic. And you know, it could be worse. At least I'm not so autistic that I can't speak. At least I'm not so fucking autistic that I end up in a group home. A lot of people with autism aren't able to live on their own, make their own decisions, that sort of thing. So I've never taken my Asperger's for granted. I might have complained about some of the struggles I've had to go through dealing with it, but on the grand scheme of things, I don't complain about it that often because my disorder could be worse. You might hear people say, well, I'm too old to date. Age is only a state of mind, bud. That's just an excuse. Okay, you're never too old to date, but some people are too young to date. There's a difference. There is a difference, YouTube. There is a difference. If you're a little kid, you shouldn't be worried about dating. You should be worried about coloring outside the lines, jumping in rain puddles, painting rainbows, and talking about unicorns, depending on what sex you are. If you're a little dude, then you shouldn't be worried about dating either. You should be worried about playing with your toy cars, playing in the mud, making friends, riding a bike, that sort of thing. You hear these 16-year-old girls talking about how they need a boyfriend, and it's like, bitch, you need to do your fucking homework and make sure that you're getting good grades. Stop letting society pressure you into dating. I'm so fucking tired of that shit. Society already makes us feel like shit if our bodies aren't quote unquote perfect. That's bad enough. But then you got society pressuring all these young people into having relations when some of them aren't ready. But they see their friends doing it, so then they feel peer pressured into, and that's bullshit. So don't let society pressure you into, yeah. And you really got to be careful with yourself, dude. A lot of these chicks don't look like they're 16. A lot of these chicks look like they're in their 20s and they dress like it too. And that's not all right. That's why you always ask for an ID before anything, and you make sure that, That's how a lot of dudes are getting hemmed up for stupid shit that they don't normally do. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not paying attention. They're just, again, lack of patience. Yeah. That's a really horrible example of patience as a virtue. but it's the truth. So if you're a dude who's old enough to go to the bar, then you're better off picking up chicks at a bar because you know those chicks are going to be old enough. You see them at a bar drinking, the bartender will ask for their ID. So there you go. You know, the goddamn FDA is so concerned about menthol cigarettes, flavored vape juice, and flavored cigars. The FDA is so concerned about flavored cigars, flavored vape juice, and menthol cigarettes. What about the hormones they add in our food? Children are entering puberty way too early as a result of all the unnecessary hormones in our food. But, you know, the Food and Drug Administration is more concerned about the adults who smoke menthol cigarettes. When even though in a recent study done by some scientists and some, you know, underage smoking has dropped significantly in the last decade or so. So you want to sit there and say that, oh, these kids are more likely to try them if, you know, they're flavored. And really, all these bans do is piss off the adults who enjoy them. Okay, your name isn't the Tobacco and Drug Administration, it's the Food and Drug Administration. And speaking of prescription drugs, you're so concerned about menthol cigarettes, but what about the 10 to 20 unnecessary side effects that 95% of these prescription pills have? You know, they're called antidepressants, but some of them, in some clinical studies done on these so-called antidepressants, people still experience thoughts of suicide. So you can't call it an antidepressant if people still experience those thoughts. And you see a commercial on TV for these pills, and then it gets to the part where side effects may include, and then you're sitting there for about an hour and a half listening to them list off the side effects. I'm reminded of this episode of The Boondocks, and Robert and Rollo's grandfather is taking this blood medication for his heart, and he watches the commercial on TV, and he sees all the side effects, and he's like, throws it against the wall, and the pills just go all over the place because he's, you know what I'm saying? That's the weed-friendly episode of The Boondocks. Yeah, classic anime. I would watch the episode on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure I'd get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to. That's how I got a ban on YouTube Live. I was watching Animation Domination Live, and Fox put a sound copyright claim on my video. And because of that, they're like, well, which I thought was a bit of a stretch, considering I wasn't trying to steal the cartoon as my own. I was just, as a fan, watching it. But, you know, networks like that are super picky. We come back full circle to the issue of dating, though. When I see a lot of people complaining about the opposite sex and starting all these bullshit movements, I tend to think there's a lack of mutual respect. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear women complaining about men, and you certainly wouldn't hear men complaining about women. Anyways, back at you with another provoking pipe thoughts. I'll catch you cool cobras on the flip side.